CBS News contributor and Republican strategist Frank Luntz moderated the event where Donald Trump made those controversial comments about Senator McCain. Frank, thanks for being with us. So how much damage did Trump do to his campaign this weekend?
Well, I want to be clear about this. Not only do I not think that he's even considering dropping out, he said something in that event that no one is focused on because he was so controversial with Senator McCain. A participant asked him, would you guarantee that you'll endorse the Republican nominee? And his answer, in a word, no. That I believe that not only is Donald Trump in this for the long haul, but there is the possibility, the distinct possibility, that he would consider a third-party candidacy should the Republican nominee be former Governor Jeb Bush.
And so, Frank, given what you just said, what effect would that have here as this campaign season moves forward? A lot of people thought by now Donald Trump might be a thing of the past.
Well, right. And in fact, not only is it not a thing of the past, but there's a segment of not just the Republican electorate, but there's a segment of American society that has had enough with politicians who are scripted, had enough of pundits and pollsters, and love it, absolutely love it, when someone like Donald Trump says it like it is. And so every time that we have this conversation, that group of Americans seems to grow. You're going to have an unexpected level of chaos, which can't be good for the political process. But what bothers me the most is that I think you're going to have a level of incivility. And that's what happens when you combine the capability to spend not just millions, but billions of dollars in the electoral process with a candidate that's prepared to say just about anything. This is going to be the loudest and least civil campaign that this country has had in a long, long time.
Well, Frank, a lot of Republicans are saying his comments should disqualify Donald Trump from running for president, and many have called for him to drop out of the race even. But doesn't Trump play by a different set of rules? I mean, do you see him toning it down at all?
He will never tone it down. That's not who he is, and that's not what his supporters would expect him to do. The harder that he fights, and the louder the cries are for him to pull out or for him to moderate what he says, the bolder he's going to be, the brasher he's going to be, and the more that his people like it. You're going to see this spread, very similar to Ross Perot in 1992, where you either love Donald Trump or hate Donald Trump, but you're going to have to listen to Donald Trump, and that's been his objective all along. I've watched him, I've met him, I've spent time with him. This guy feeds off of this, but more importantly, so do people who support him.
Frank, let me ask you, you had a chance to talk to likely Republican voters this weekend. What is it that they're saying about Donald Trump's appeal? Is it just the immigration issue? Is it the fact that he's a fighter? What is it about Donald Trump that appeals to these Republicans?
And that's the perfect question, because it's not his issues. Yes, immigration is important to them. There's a significant segment who do want to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico. There's a significant segment that are frustrated with how veterans have been treated in this country. But that's not it. The appeal of Donald Trump is his persona. It's the say whatever it takes, and he doesn't care about the consequences, and neither do they. So it's more about his character than it is about his policies, and that can last him through criticisms such as what he's faced this weekend.
Frank, back to that third-party thing. We all remember Ross Perot. We remember Ralph Nader. How, if he decides to run as a third-party candidate, would that affect the general election? And specifically, how would it help or maybe hinder Hillary Clinton? But most likely help, I guess.
Well, it won't hinder her at all. In fact, if Donald Trump runs as a third-party candidate, and I think at this moment we have to begin that conversation, it is a possibility. Should he decide to run as a third-party candidate, he's got the $200 or $300 million it takes to get on every state ballot. This guy would absolutely be formidable, and unlike Ross Perot, it appears that Trump is willing to spend it. This doesn't hurt Hillary Clinton at all. There's about 43% of Americans that are going to vote for the Democratic nominee no matter what. I believe that Trump has the support of about 10% of the country. Well, add it up together, and no Republican would be able to defeat Hillary Clinton if Donald Trump runs as an independent.
And Frank, I guess Is this sort of political theater? I mean, Republicans, there were some that sort of came out against his comments against Mexicans, but the response was sort of lukewarm. Now he comes out against John McCain, making some comments which many found egregious. There were many comments made about John Kerry when he was running. I get that he's a Democrat, and that's what perhaps makes this different, but I guess a lot of people wonder, is this just theater?
If it's a theater, it's the theater of the absurd. And it's an embarrassment for this country. These are very difficult times. We are a very divided nation. We are very pessimistic about the future and very angry with each other. And anything that plays into that incivility, anything that plays into that indecency in how we treat each other will have horrific ramifications, not just in the political process, but throughout society as a whole. Let us hope that if this is theater, that this is the final act.
All right. Frank Luntz, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.